Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today is a requested item known as the Alma Negra. The Alma Negra is a very odd shield, and it seems to be more focused around offensive than defensive. And because of this, I think it tends to be a little looked over. But it does serve its specific purpose relatively well, which is to be an offensive shield versus a defensive shield. However, there are options which could be better. Namely the Phoenix rune word, which has a rather large amount of damage bonus. So let's take a look at this particular shield together and figure it out, shall we? So right off the bat, we see that it is a Sacred Rondache, which is a rather high-level shield. It has a level 77 requirement, and it has a strength requirement of 109. This shield is going to be more of an end-game shield, and it will be judged on those merits. It does have a variance of +1 to 2 on the Paladin skills, which means you can find this in a rather poor form of only +1. +2 Paladin skills is obviously better. We have 30% faster block rate and 20% increased chance of blocking, which is certainly very nice. And on a Paladin with no Holy Shield, with a decently low amount of dexterity, as you can see, it still factors in at 75%. Now, if it is over 75%, which it probably is, it actually makes the chance to block easier to hit the cap. So if I were to put this on, there's a very good chance we will have an easier time hitting the 75% cap. Now, my dexterity is very low, which is part of the issue here. And the interesting thing about this shield is that it has other nice effects as far as damage is concerned. So between 40 to 75% enhanced damage, which will act as very similar to a Might Aura, but it only at 75%. It is called off-weapon enhanced damage. It also has a bonus to attack rating of 75%, which is a fairly large bonus, and both the enhanced damage and the attack rating bonus vary from 40 to 75%, which I feel like is one of the big downsides of this shield. Because the +1 to 2 on the Paladin skills, the 40 to 75 on the enhanced damage, and the 40 to 75 on the bonus to attack rating, you almost never find this in its optimal condition. And I feel like if you did find this with +2, 75% enhanced, and 75% bonus to attack rating, it may be a more attractive shield all around. It also has a bonus to defense of 180 to 210%, and magic damage reduced by of 5 to 9, which is also another variance. So, I mean, we have the enhanced defense varies, the plus to Paladin skills varies, the enhanced damage varies, the bonus to attack rating varies, the magic damage reduced varies. I mean, there's literally almost every single stat on this shield varies, and it makes for a very sad find a lot of the times. You can also find this ethereal, which I need to calculate the defense. So the base defense on a Sacred Rondache is, let's say 164. It's a good number. So 164 plus 50%, which is going to give us 246. And then we have an enhanced defense of 210%, so plus 210%. So the ethereal version would be rocking 762.6 defense, which isn't like a massive, super big difference. But if you were to grab that, put a Zod rune in it, I suppose it could be useful to give you a little bit of extra defense. Mine is unfortunately bugged. That's why mine doesn't show the correct defense. But 765, that's a pretty decent chunk. Definitely better than the 500. But of course, the 511 is still very similar to a Dream Shield or, for instance, a Herald of Zakarum. This is a Ethereal Herald of Zakarum shield, which has been upgraded and Zodded, and it's 777. So it would be very similar in the defense to the Herald of Zakarum. And I feel like if we're going to compare shields, we really need to compare these two. The Herald of Zakarum is a highly defensive shield. So as you can see, it has resistances, it has strength and vitality, it has +2 to Paladin and +2 to combat. It also has a little bit of bonus to attack rating, but mainly just a lot of defense, a lot of resistances, things like that you would need. So if you're comparing these two shields, the main issue with these is that the Alma Negra is missing the +2 combat skills, which was unfortunately very sad. And I feel like this offsets the 75% enhanced damage. I don't understand why they would give the Herald of Zakarum +2 combat and not give the Alma Negra +2 combat. I don't understand why they made this shield so ridiculously good, and then when they made this one, they were like, you know what, let's leave out the +2 combat, let's leave out the stats, let's leave out the resistances, let's leave out, you know, everything that makes the Herald of Zakarum good, and then give the Alma Negra an attack rating bonus and an enhanced damage, and that somehow is going to make up for it, and it really doesn't. Now, one thing you could do with this to make it more than what it is you could throw a 15% IAS, 40% ED jewel in here. That would create an Alma Negra Sacred Rondache, which has all the stats that you see here, plus it gives you 15% IAS, and the 40% ED on the jewel would stack with the 75% on the shield, giving you, what, 75, 85, 95, 115... 125, so 125% on the shield with a nice attack rating bonus of 75%, which wouldn't be too terrible. I feel like the +2 combat skills, honestly, is almost countering that, though, and it's quite sad. Now, if you did find an Alma Negra, it definitely wouldn't be a terrible shield. It would still be a nice shield to use on a Paladin. And if you didn't have anything better, definitely pretty sweet. The +2 Paladin skills would definitely counter Spirit, but Spirit does have more resistances. So this would just simply be another option that you could use, which would have a little bit more damage on it as opposed to the latter. It does have the little round shield iconic thing there, and if you cast Holy Shield, you can't really see it anyway, so it's not like it matters. And the defense goes way up, of course, because Holy Shield brings the defense up by 445%, and of course your blocking chance goes up as well when you utilize your Holy Shield. However, my block chance is absolutely awful with the low dexterity that I'm running. I'm not really sure what to think about this particular shield. I feel like there are the main issues with this are, number one, it doesn't have any resistances. Number two, it doesn't compete well with other high-level options. So granted, if you had a Herald of Zakarum, if you had a Spirit Monarch shield, if you had an Exile, and you compared all of them to each other, the Alma Negra is probably going to come dead last in all of those situations. Somewhere along the line, I have to assume that the developers probably thought that enhanced damage on items would have a greater effect than what it actually does. And the truth of the matter is it doesn't really do as much as you would think. Take, for instance, my Paladin right now. Let me go ahead and throw on Might Aura, just for fun. So I'm running 3,000... Take off Dream. So about 1,469 to 1,898, right? Take off the Alma Negra, and you see I go down to 1,240, 1,632. So I'm only going up by about 200. I want to say about 200 damage. And it's kind of hard to even really get a good grasp of it because, of course, the shield is giving me +2 as well. I feel like I need to put on Herald of Zakarum to try and counter the +2 that's coming from the shield. But at the same time, Herald of Zakarum has +2 combat as well. I don't think I have another just plain +2 shield laying around for me to test it with. I do not. All in all, I just don't feel like Alma Negra was really a well thought out item. It's certainly a powerful item. If you didn't have anything better to put in that slot, it would probably be the best Paladin shield that you could find at the time. Like I said, if you don't have access to a Herald of Zakarum, if you don't have access to a Dream, if you don't have access to a Spirit Shield, this could definitely be a good choice. The lack of resistances, though, is really one of the big downsides for this. I just can't believe that they would have created all these amazing shields with all these amazing resistance numbers You know, Herald of Zachariam has 50 all res. If you make the Spirit Monarch, it's got like 48 all res or something like that. It's close. It's not all resistances, but it's 3. And you know, you could also take a base, and you could find one that has 45 all res and make the Spirit out of that. You know, you can do 100 different things and have just amazing resistances, to the point where literally, if you make like a Sanctuary Rune Word, you would have like plus 115 all res. But they just decided to give no resistances whatsoever to the Alma Negra, which just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. They could have thrown on 20 or 30. They could have thrown on something. But nothing. So a little bit of trivia about the Alma Negra is that it does have like almost like a historic kind of thing inside of the game. The shield was historically presented to the Akan alongside of another shield called the Piro Mirella, but that is not in Diablo 2. That one actually was added to Diablo 3. Anyway, the shield is definitely more of an offensive shield, but I also do feel like it is not really that great. If you're in a situation where you really need the attack rating bonus, which I feel like is one of the only main things this thing even has on it, you will notice that when I put on the shield, the attack rating bonus from 3,135 to 3,657. I mean, it's a fairly decent little bonus of 75%, but it is a base increase, which means that I need attack rating to increase. A lot of the times I've noticed when it comes to base increases that if you don't actually have the numbers, if you're not actually running equipment that gives you attack rating, or you don't have a large amount of dexterity, which also gives you attack rating, it's not improving anything. You know, 75% of 1 is pretty much nothing. You know, 200% of 1 is like 2. You know, it's not really a lot. But if you already have a significant amount of attack rating, the percentage-based bonuses can be extremely effective. Like, for instance, if you were running the angelic ring and amulets set together, angelic rings and amulets give a rather large amount of base attack rating, at which point Alma Negra would give you a huge boost to that base, which is not bad. Where can you find Alma Negra? Alma Negra is not particularly rare. I do remember that I've found several so far. But let's take a look and see what the Silos Panic Calculator has to say about where the best place for this is. So let's go ahead and pull this up. Let's pretend we have 150% magic find. And we're going to look up bosses. By the way, a little bit of trivia about the Alma Negra. Alma Negra actually is Spanish and Portuguese for black soul. So it looks like Diablo in Hell has a pretty good chance at 1 in 2,201. And Mephisto for Quest has 1 in 1,711. We also have Baal in Hell non-quest 1 in 2,242, and Mephisto Hell non-quest 1 in 2,584. So pretty good chance of getting an Alma Negra from Mephisto in Hell, Baal in Hell, or Diablo in Hell. You could also farm super uniques for this item, and looks to me like Neelathak in Hell, Battlemaid Serena in Hell, Blood Witch in Hell, Bonebreaker in Hell. Quite a few super uniques in Hell have the ability to drop this, so it doesn't look like this is dropping anywhere in Nightmare difficulty. In fact, as I look at this list, quite a large number of the super uniques are on this list, with a fairly decent chance each, as far as, you know, relative to each other. If we look at Neelathak, for instance, which is the best probability, it's still a 1 in 17,049 chance. So still a rather kind of high chance there, or rather, a rather rare chance there. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, and let me know what you think of Alma Negra. Let me know what you think about this shield, and as always, keep watching.